And the winner of the 2010 Western Australian Commonwealth Bank Business Owner Award is Jan Ford.
Wow. Thank you, Telstra. And thank you, Commonwealth Bank. Does anyone remember this? You must be as old as me. One of my first memories about money is my mother giving me one of these. Do you remember that, Mum? It wasn't actually this one, but it was the same. And last year, the Commonwealth Bank brought them back for a promotion. And I just knew it was telling me something special. It reminded me of lots of things in my childhood that had actually been stuffed up in my adulthood. Things like kids learning to save. The other thing was my first permanent job was Telstra. It was actually PMG in those days, went to Telecom and then Telstra. But we were given a beautiful little pin. So I had my money box for the Commonwealth. Now I've got a Telstra badge, but in those days it was a tiny Telstra pin that I wore with great pride. That was because I was part of a company, Australian government, Commonwealth government, that was building the north, bringing communication so that we could mine the north and become a wealthy state that we'd never known before. I followed that dream for a long, long time, working with Telstra. In those days, it used to take us a minimum of 3 hours to get a phone call for Hammersley Iron from Perth through to Dampier. That was in 1970s. I went to Port Hedland in 1974 to see what was happening. There was a brand new airport, there were brand new shops, it was modern, it was buzzing. Then my girlfriends who hooked up with the young boys went up there and they got 4-bedroom brick houses with air conditioning. I wanted to go, but I didn't have a boyfriend, I didn't have a husband. I had a Commonwealth money box. Telecom said, if you want to go travel Australia, we'll pay. So I did. I said, I want to go to Port Hedland. They went, no accommodation. Single girl? No way. 24 years later, 1998, I went back to Port Hedland with a husband because he could get accommodation. Can you believe that? Years later, he lost his job. He lost his accommodation. He lost his car. I'm a real estate agent. I had a real estate agency. I had a house. I had a Commonwealth money box. And today, we're going to have a city in Port Hedland where every single young girl like me who wants to go and live in Port Hedland on her own will be able to get a house. It hasn't quite happened yet, but I know through our real estate agency, through people who, like Gina, who has a vision for the north, but more importantly, those ancestors that came before me had a beautiful vision for a wonderful north that feeds all of Australia. It will also feed the north of Australia, which is all that Asian community. So if we don't get together, girls, and build the north, we won't have it to build because people from further north, they've got their eyes on it already. So let's hold on to our Commonwealth money box and let's hold on to our telecommunications and let's make it big. So I want to thank everybody that helped me with that vision. More importantly, everybody who will help me with that vision to make Port Hedland, Karratha, all those towns in the north, the biggest and the best that Australia has ever seen. So Mum, thanks for giving me a money box. There's a man right next to you that told me 3 years ago not to give up. He said, Jan, I know it's a man's world, but you don't need to be a man to succeed. Women have something special. It's called femininity. If we use it, and we use it carefully and cleverly, it's a very powerful element. Isn't it, men? And it makes everybody laugh and everybody smile. The best thing is, it ends up making lots of children. So that's why we want lots of girls to go to Port Hedland, to get houses, to meet the boys up there, to make children, so that we have organic, population growth, and that everybody in Australia can choose to come and live in that beautiful place where I live that we've seen up on the screen today called the Pilbara. Now, if I haven't thanked anybody, I'm really sorry, shoot me later. But I tend to beg forgiveness rather than seek approval. And I thank everybody for being here today and supporting women and supporting the men that support us so that we can support the world. And thanks to mining.